We're here back in the Fantasy Bar, sixth place for you for a big 10-game Wednesday night in the NBA. And we've got it all tonight, including some of my favorite value plays, some mid-range plays, some injury situations to capitalize on, some correlations I'm looking at, and what stud should you be paying up for tonight? Belly up to the Fantasy Bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Wednesday edition Beers Daily Fantasy Six-Pack. Good to be back here once again talking some NBA hoops. 10 games on the docket, and we have narrowed it down to 6 of my favorite plays on both FanDuel and DraftKings. Thank you, as always, for stopping by and checking out the video. Now, before we get into the plays here for Wednesday night in the NBA, couple favors. Make sure you're clicking that thumbs up button, guys. Let's see how many we can get on that thumbs up tonight. Greatly appreciate it. That's the tip jar here in the Fantasy Bar. Make sure you let your friends, your mom, whoever wants to play some daily fantasy hoops, let them know about the videos as well. Subscribe to the channel. Going to start ramping up more NBA videos. Still got some NFL videos to go as well with some of my favorite bets coming up on some of these weekends here. Conference Championship weekend and, of course, Super Bowl weekend. And lastly, if you want to bet some NBA, you want to bet some NFL, you want to bet some golf, whatever it may be, head over to scoresandodds.com/beer. That link in the description of the video. Tons of information there. Analytics, trends, compare all the odds across all of the different sports books. And of course, if you want the easy route, premium picks from some of your favorite RotoGrinders personalities, myself included, giving you some of our favorite picks each and every week. Go and check it out today. Scoresandodds.com/beer. All right, the housekeeping is out of the way. Let's get to the meat of the show here with the picks for the NBA tonight. Let's start at the center position in the mid-range with Beermakersfan of the Suns. So Phoenix, we know, no DeAndre Ayton once again here tonight. JaVale McGee will also miss this game, but they're also missing a lot of other guys. And when we run the numbers here in our Court IQ tool here on RotoGrinders, which is our premium suite of tools, and at the end of the video, of course, you'll have a shot to get yourself some free premium. We see Biyombo averaging almost 1.5 fantasy points per minute with these current injuries here for Phoenix. So clearly that kind of number at this kind of salary, something we want to lock in cash games and even in tournaments. I don't think the ownership's going to get crazy out of control here with Biyombo. There's some other center options that are going to be attractive, like Hassan Whiteside in the same price point. I want him in my lineup here. No Rudy Gobert on the other side. Obviously makes this matchup even more appealing, and 37 or more DraftKings points now in 3 of the last 4. So really taking advantage of this opportunity here with Phoenix. I think he crushes once again here tonight against the Utah Jazz. All right, let's stay in the mid-range at point guard, shooting guard with Jalen Suggs of the Magic. So prices here certainly on the rise. You know, we're not getting quite the price that we had last week when we had them in the six-pack. Was very good to us then, and I want to go right back to the well here. Still nice prices here, under 6K on DraftKings specifically here for Jalen Suggs, averaging almost 40 DraftKings points a game here over the last 3, and really fueled by his ability to touch all the categories. He's not only scoring, he's getting it done with the rebounds, the assists, some of the other stuff as well. In this matchup, very advantageous for Orlando and Jalen Suggs. Clippers bottom 10 in the league so far this season in fantasy points allowed to the point guard position. So don't sticker shock here. Don't be afraid you're paying more than we were last week. I still think the price is not high enough here on Jalen Suggs, and I'm certainly buying here tonight against the Los Angeles Clippers. All right, let's get you some value. Let's get you some correlation on the other side with Terrence Mann of the Clippers. Now we know Kawhi, Paul George going to be out once again. Morris also questionable here for the Clippers. We'll see if he's able to make his return. And what a night for the Clippers the other night, coming back from about 90 down in that game to beat Washington here. But the headliner is going to be Amir Coffey, Luke Kennard. These are the guys that had the huge games for them. So they're going to draw that attention, which also is going to draw more ownership here. So Mann had himself a pretty damn good game as well, going over 30 DraftKings points. If we can even touch 30 DraftKings points at 3,700, we are certainly happy at this price point. And at $3,700, lowest price all season long on Terrence Mann. Orlando, bottom 5 in fantasy points allowed to the small forward position. So we get a nice matchup here as well. Terrence Mann, one of my favorite value plays on tonight's slate. All right, back to the mid-range at power forward center with Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Grizzlies. So Triple J quickly turning into one of our favorites here in the fantasy bar. You've certainly seen him a number of times here, but for good reason. This guy continues to play at a very high level. Memphis, once again, going to be without Dylan Brooks, who's on the shelf for a few weeks. Kyle Anderson also out, and Desmond Bane still questionable heading into this matchup as of this recording. Even if Bane is in there, I still like Jaren Jackson at these prices. If Bane is out, we know he's going to have to be the Robin to John Morant's Batman here, but playing really well here of late, like we mentioned, averaging almost 38 DraftKings points per game over his last 9. We've seen 5 games over that span of 39 or more DraftKings points, some in the 40s, some in the 50s. So we're getting a nice ceiling here on Jaren Jackson. Last time he matched up with the Spurs, 41.3 DraftKings points, which would easily make hay on this salary here. Give us a nice 6 to 7x multiplier there on DraftKings. So good matchup here with Jackson. Whether Bane is in or not, I don't care. Love him in the spot tonight against the San Antonio Spurs. All right, back to Value Town at point guard with Monte Morris of the Nuggets. We're really playing a lot here. We know Joker doing a ton for Denver, but without some of the other pieces there, Michael Porter Jr., who provides a ton of offense, also missing Barton. We'll see if he returns. Does not matter there either. If he's out, obviously, better news for Monte Morris, but even if he's back, I still like the play here. 34 minutes per game now over the last 5 for Monte Morris. Getting a ton of shots up as well, 14 shots per game. And the fantasy points haven't really been there, but he hasn't been shooting the ball well. That's going to turn around sooner rather than later, and it could happen tonight here against Brooklyn. We know the Nets, an exciting style of basketball, but very little defense played here by the Nets, especially to point guards. As we know, James Harden generally manning that spot. Kyrie Irving, not the best defenders here in the world. So tonight, he'll draw some Harden, he'll draw some Patty Mills. The point is Brooklyn, 3rd most fantasy points allowed to this position. And I'm expecting the shooting to get better here tonight against Brooklyn. Monte Morris could be one of the best value plays on the slate, under 5K on both sides. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for Wednesday night. Before we do that, we want to continue our Beast of the Night contest. Free to play, easy to play. Thank you to you guys for hanging out here in the fantasy bar. Make sure you click that thumbs up button, and all you have to do, get in the comment section right below the video and guess fantasy points on DraftKings for my favorite play of the night. The closest guess is going to win themselves a free week of RotoGrinders Premium, 7 days to check everything out. NBA, NFL, you're going to want that information heading in to Conference Championship weekend. Tons of information. Great product here with the RG Premium. So let's wrap this baby up. My favorite play for Wednesday night. You know him as the Beast of the Night. All right, Beast time. And we said in the beginning, what stud do you want to pay up for? For me, the clear answer is point guard, shooting guard, small forward, depending on your site. We are talking to Beard, James Harden of the Nets, tonight's Beast of the Night. Now, 10 games, we got a lot of guys we can pay up for. With some of the value plays we've given you, you can likely spend up on 2 guys. But if we have to narrow it down to 1, I am going with James Harden here on this slate. Let's dig into some of the numbers here. We know Kevin Durant going to remain out. No Kyrie Irving once again tonight. And, of course, Joe Harris been out. So you take those guys off the floor, almost a 6% usage bump for a guy that already has a pretty high usage. That number jumps to almost 35% and averaging over 1.5 fantasy points per minute in this scenario. We did a 2-year sampling here of that number. The number's similar this season as well. So very consistent is James Harden. We know that Denver has struggled with point guards, bottom 5 in the league. And some people like these history stats, some do not, but I found it very interesting here, so we are including it. Harden has gone for 50 or more DraftKings points against the Denver Nuggets in 12 of the last 14 matchups. So yes, we're going way back. We're going back to his Houston days. Just an interesting stat I wanted to throw in there. But James Harden, way too cheap on FanDuel, just 10-2. And even at that DraftKings price, 11-5, we can make it work. Love the matchup for him here tonight. James Harden, easily my favorite play on the board. And tonight's Beast of the Night. All right, guys, that'll wrap us up for Wednesday night in the Fantasy Bar, talking some NBA hoops with 6 of my favorite plays. If you guys have any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section right below the video. Don't forget fantasy points for James Harden on DraftKings for your shot at some free RotoGrinders Premium. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Best of luck here in the NBA tonight. We'll be back with an NFL video tomorrow, another NBA video on Fridays. Busy times here in the Fantasy Bar. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist